fat burners, pre-workouts, and cups of coffee are all the same. Most of you take a pre-workout, 15, 20 minutes later, you're off to the bathroom. The biggest movement that's happening is not on the scale, it's in your bowels. Welcome back. So we're going to talk about caffeine, pre-workouts, fat burners, and I'm going to just start at the beginning. None of these things work the way that they're promoted. So caffeine, we all know what caffeine is. You have a cup of coffee, you have a cup of tea, you're going to feel more alert, you're going to feel a little bit better. For some of us, when we have that coffee or we have that tea, it's fighting off the headache that's coming from the caffeine withdrawals. Now, it's important to identify that sometimes drinking coffee, and we've all been there before, you're tired, you have a cup of coffee, you feel slightly better, you have a second cup of coffee, you feel a little bit better, and maybe you need a third or a fourth cup of coffee. Caffeine is actually classified as a psychedelic drug. So, like with other drugs, the more you take, the more you need. And as I'm going through my own caffeine detox here, I kind of want to share my experience, one, and then go into why people are taking these things and why they shouldn't be taking these things. So over the past few weeks, I realized that my caffeine consumption was a little bit higher than probably what it should be. And by a little bit higher, probably enough to kill a small animal. Actually, based on what we know the lethal dosage of caffeine to be, it was enough to kill a small animal. Caffeine's lethal dose is 150 milligrams per kilogram body weight. So the cool part is most of you are nowhere near the lethal dose, so don't worry about it. Keep drinking it if you want to. What caffeine does in the system is it helps to blunt your appetite and it helps to metabolize some glucose. It helps to burn a little bit more fat. That's why the base of all fat burners and all pre-workouts is caffeine. The more caffeine they have, the more they're going to give you that bump. And of course, some of you guys are taking these pre-workouts and fat burners before you go to the gym. Well, that's fine if you're going to the gym in the morning, but if you're going to the gym at night, you're not going to see the benefits the way that you should. The reason is you're taking in a stimulant somewhere around 5-6 hours before bed, and then you're doing your workout. Well, that stimulant is in your system anywhere from 6 to 12 hours. In most cases, it's out of people's systems in about 9, but people that are very caffeine sensitive, it can be there for 12 or more hours. What does all that mean? Really nothing at this point. Basically what I'm saying at this juncture is every pre-workout and fat burner you take is just caffeine in a different form. Now, you're going to look at most of your pre-workouts and you're going to see all these awesome names in there. You're going to see proprietary blends. You're going to see, strange barks that you've never heard of. All those things have been shown in a clinical setting to have an impact on blood glucose or fat metabolism in some way, shape, or form. The volume that are in your pre-workout or in your fat burner are not necessarily the same volume that is in the supplement you're taking, or the supplement that was tested, I should say. So the volume that's in your pre-workout or in the fat burner you're taking is not the same volume or quantity that was used in the study to find out this affects fat burn. So what does all that mean? Well, basically, when you do a study, there's going to be a certain volume of a certain substance. So arginine is a good substance to look at. Arginine is in a lot of pre-workouts as something that's going to cause vasodilation and nitric oxide increase in the bloodstream. If you're watching the other videos, easiest way to do that is just to breathe through your nose. But when it comes to pre-workouts, we put that in there as a way to market it because it has been shown to have a positive effect on blood vessel health and blood vessel dilation in elderly patients taking 7 grams or more per day. Now, if you look at the back of your pre-workout right now, you're going to see somewhere around 1 to 2 grams of arginine in there. And if the study was done with elderly patients at 7 grams per day, where's the benefit there? It's not. Just because you're younger doesn't mean you see a benefit. What was studied, what was found is different than what's in your product. Now, the other part of that is arginine itself does have amazing benefits for growth hormone production, muscle recovery, muscle repair. So I'm not saying that arginine is bad. So we upgrade citrulline to some of these pre-workouts because it's the precursor for arginine. So it sounds better. We need less of it to do more of the thing. Well, unfortunately, the arginine actually has better benefits in your system than the citrulline does. So there's a lot to go into when it comes to pre-workouts. And I can go into a video if you guys really want me to individually about pre-workouts and fat burners and the things that are in them. I don't think you do. So there's that. But When we move to fat burners, the same thing. You're looking at a high concentration of caffeine, and that's why fat burners have a different feel. When you take some, it affects your physiology differently. So everyone has an upper limit of caffeine tolerance. Everyone has a lower limit. So what does that mean? Well, basically everyone has an amount that they need to take in before they feel like anything's happening. Everyone has an amount that if they take in more than that, they feel like way too much is happening. So that's where fat burners, pre-workouts, and cups of coffee are all the same. The other elements that are in there are going to have a different effect on your body. Some are going to make your body get a little bit warmer, some are going to have a laxative-like effect. Most of you take a pre-workout, 15, 20 minutes later, you're off to the bathroom. The biggest movement that's happening is not on the scale, it's in your bowels. So you need to think about what you're taking in and the reaction it has in your body. Yes, most of the time when you ingest something, it goes right through you. Now, here's a similarity, and it's not a pretty one, but stay with me. When you've had a rough night of drinking, you go to the bathroom the next morning and you have a movement of some sort. When you've taken a pre-workout, it's very often that you have a similar movement because your body is actually trying to push something out of the system as if it's a poison or a toxin. That's why we have the liquor shits after a night of drinking, because your body is going, hey, that poison went in, I gotta get rid of it. So it just tries to push everything through as fast as possible. Same thing is happening when you're taking a pre-workout or a fat burner. You have this weird bowel movement shortly after that's just kind of explosive. Sometimes it comes on really suddenly because your body is trying to evacuate something. There's no tactful way for me to put this. But think about what your asshole is. It's the opposite side of your mouth. So if something goes in that your body shouldn't be rejecting, but it's in pill form, it pops open and goes into the liquid mass that was in there, your body basically opens up the freeway and says, yo, get out. Where does it have to go? So the really short version of this entire video is pre-workouts are great if you absolutely need to take it. So if you're feeling low energy and you're tired and it's been a while since you've taken one, take it. You're gonna get a good bump from it. Fat burners are great if you're trying to drop the last 2 to 3 pounds and you're trying to get on stage or you're trying to really make a change in a short period of time. But over the long run, taking a lot of fat burners or taking a lot of pre-workouts is actually going to inhibit your results because of the change that they have and the effect that they have on your central nervous system. And whenever you take in caffeine, it's going to tell your central nervous system that you are in a stress state. If you've watched any of my previous videos, we know that stress and fat burn don't go hand in hand.